In 1954, at the age of 25, Martin Luther King Jr. was a pastor in Montgomery, Alabama. Over the next 14 years, he would become an iconic figure worldwide in his unquenchable thirst for civil rights. And today, games will be played in 14 NBA arenas, where the memory of Dr. King will be honored and celebrated 91 years since his birth here in Atlanta. And with that, we welcome you to TNT NBA Tip-Off, presented by Auto Trader. I'm Ernie Johnson. In just a few minutes, I'll be joined by Kenny, Charles, and Shaq as we bring you an NBA triple header from Memphis, Boston, and Portland. So much has been said about Dr. King, so many of his words echoing to this day. But we begin this afternoon with what we think is a rather unique way to celebrate and spread his legacy through the lens we know best, the lens of sports. We partnered with the production company Wondros and are able to bring you candid conversations with some of these central figures of the civil rights movement to learn how sports shaped the outcome of the movement and how in turn the sports world we know was forever shaped. The words you'll hear come straight from Dr. King's inner circle, where young activists put their lives on the line with the dream of turning back violent racism with love. Absolutely powerful, riveting piece to get us started here today. Welcome, everybody. Shaq's here, Kenny here, Charles here. And Charles, you're the executive producer of that profile that we just watched with Wondros.
Yeah, and I'm really proud. Thanks everybody at Turner for letting my company do it. Being around Mayor Young, Ambassador Young, and all these older great black men that I've been fortunate, Bill Russell, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Kareem, guys who were really in the civil rights movement. Every time I see those guys, I just say thank you. And that really doesn't do it justice. Because I couldn't imagine, I've never not been able to go to a school, go to a bathroom, drink out of a water fountain. So I've never been through no real struggle in my life. I'm not going to act like I can play like I'm a martyr. But I will say this, we've come a long way. But I was reminded after watching the NFL for the last few weeks about not giving black coaches an opportunity. And it's always an issue with things like that. And I implored the owners to give the black coaches jobs, being general managers, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, but also head coaches. So even though we've come a long way, we still have a long way to go.
What did it mean? You guys have all played on MLK Day, correct, in the course of your careers. Shaq, what made it special? Because guys in the course of an 82-game season will say, oh, this is just another game. But what did it mean to play on this day?
It means a lot. He's done a lot. And, Dick Gregory was a friend of mine before he passed away. We used to talk about the civil rights movement a lot. And his quote was, because Dr. Martin Luther King never showed fear, his courage helped the rest of us face the world unafraid. And I go back and I look at all the times that he was getting arrested or he never really showed fear. So, to learn about this man, to, try to set examples as he did, like that he got his bachelor's, his master's, his doctorate at an early age. He was super educated. That's why every time you see me, I try to show the peace sign. We still have a long way to go, but he's done a lot. He's paved the way for so many people, as well as all the names that Charles mentioned. But, for us to be able to play on this day, we owe it to him and all the other civil rights leaders and all the other martyrs that have, paved the way for us.
What was your biggest takeaway from the piece we just saw?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me is not to minimize or desensitize the effects of not only the civil rights movement and slavery, because these people that we're watching are alive today. They're, all of us whose parents are still alive, we're part of that. This isn't, I have an 11-year-old son, Malloy, and a 7-year-old London. For them, feels so far removed when in actuality they can go to their grandfather, who's in the house with them this weekend, and talk about this exact moment he's lived through. So, and I think that as the internet world and it becomes desensitized that this is one generation removed. And so the effects of that causes the undercurrent of things that happen. Because the conversations that I've had in my household and other people's had in the household that were living through these moments affects the way your thought process is. And once you realize that, then you could change your thought process and say, well, that was right, wrong, or indifferent. But to think that it's far-fetched away and not this undercurrent that still is available and accurate, I think that's what, a lot of times where we fail to recognize both sides.
And Ernie, I want to say one thing before we go to break. I want to give my best to Congressman John Lewis, who's battling for his life and who's a true American hero.
We've had him on this very show on this very day in the past.
And I just want to wish him the best. He's a great American hero.
I love how Andrew Young also just described Martin Luther King Jr. that way, saying he was just a well-rounded guy who just happened to focus on saving the world.